Good morning. That's better. So again, those of you that have, seniors and juniors, and so you may have heard that we have started a Hall of Fame. This is now our eighth year doing this. And the first year that I was a part of this back in 2013, I was like, how is this going to be? It was a lot of work to get things off the ground. We had committees and whatnot. And the first time we had the induction ceremony and able to talk to the juniors and seniors, to hear our alumni speak, and again, those of you know what alumni is people that have graduated here as well, but hopefully you will be graduating, that's what alumnus is. And how accomplished they have become and are, and talking to a lot of them, they said, I remember sitting exactly where they're sitting right now. And I'm sure they may mention that in their speech, but it's impressive. So please, give these folks your attention and pay attention to their stories, because again, they came from the same background as you are from. Before we begin, I just want to say thank you so much to Mr. Mercandani. Without him, none of this is possible. So please give Merc a big round of applause. It's a fun weekend. It's the first week football weekend for us. It's usually over Labor Day weekend, so I want to wish the volleyball team, cross country team, soccer teams, the band, the cheerleaders, and everyone else that's involved in this weekend's activities and everything that we are doing. So again, football, good luck tonight, and beat Brownsville. Go UT. Our first inductee into the class of 2000, there's two classes this year, in 21 and 22, because we weren't able to do it last year. Mr. Jess Ball. Mr. Ball is a graduate of 1959. 59 graduate. JC, as he's better known. Family and classmates had a successful business career, including 21 years with General Electric, and 37 additional years working with several private equity companies. Currently semi-retired, he now provides coaching and mentoring services to company CEOs. This includes pro bono, free, services to Fayette County businesses. He's been married for 58 years to Jackie Gwen Ball and has 2 adult children, Jay and his daughter, Jamie. He resides in Florida.
The minutes that we have together this morning, I'm going to give you a quick sketch of who I am and how I got here. Hopefully, this will be of interest to you. I've been married, as was said, 58 years to the same woman and have 2 adult children. I secured an electrical engineering degree from West Virginia University, and I also got an MBA in marketing out of Rutgers University. My education from this high school prepared me well for college. I was one of the top 10 freshman men during my first year at WVU. I secured my MBA from Rutgers by going to school at night while working at General Electric in New York City. This included 3 hours each day of commuting. And I was also traveling as a part of my job, traveling for business 50% of the time. To say the least, I was a young man in a hurry to make my mark. For most of my 58 years of career, I've been working at turning around underperforming businesses. When I graduated from here 63 years ago, I had absolutely no idea that my career would have taken me in that direction. I've traveled the world, I've met many people from diverse cultures, and along the way, I've had a ball. For the last several years, I've been acting as a coach or mentor for company owners or company presidents who want to improve the results of their businesses. Locally, I perform these activities, as was noted, pro bono. And for those of you that haven't taken Latin, that means for free. I'm not quite yet ready for full-time retirement. Now, what could have prepared me for such a ride? Well, I've always liked puzzles. I've been an avid reader of Sherlock Holmes, who was a quintessential detective and problem solver, and I have taken great satisfaction out of seeing an improvement after I worked on something. For example, when I was a much younger person, my family would do spring cleaning around the house each year. I always wanted to work on the dirtiest room so that my work efforts would make a recognizable difference. To help me better understand how to succeed in the world around me, I read a book written in 1970 entitled Future Shock, which detailed the quick changing world that I was living in, and you're living in for that matter. It outlined why these changes were occurring and what I had to do to cope with those changes. One such advice point was the need to read a lot and stay current with changes in the society around me and in my chosen profession, business. Now, your teachers may have already been encouraging you to continue to learn. At 81 years of age, I still read voraciously and learn something hopefully useful every day. If you consider your high school graduation to be the last of your learning exercises, you're going to struggle throughout your adulthood. There's an old saying, knowledge is power. That power can facilitate a successful life for you both personally and professionally. Which of those are you going to opt for? Do I have any questions on what I just talked about? No questions. Well, if you don't mind, I have a little test. I always like to test the capabilities of my presentation skills. And so as a matter of doing a test, I'm going to ask a question. And I'm going to offer $20. I'm going to offer $20 to the first person who can jump up, not just yet, wait till I finish my challenge. They can jump up, raise their hand, and yell out the name of the book that I just cited in my presentation. You're damn right. Not only do you read to stay current, you should always listen. And I hope you do the same thing with the rest of the speakers this morning. Thank you very much, Buck McLean, for coming up.
I got 50 cents, because I'm a teacher. Thank you very much, Mr. Ball. Congratulations. This morning, looking through these bios of all these accomplished people, I'm surprised that they're up early and they're not in sorrow, because a lot of our alumnus here are from West Virginia. And I'm sorry that Pitt beat West Virginia yesterday in the backyard brawl, so I apologize. I am a Pitt fan, but I root for West Virginia when they're not playing Pitt. So again, my condolences to you West Virginia folks. Our next inductee, some of you may know him locally, is Dr. Michael George. Dr. Michael George graduated in 1976 from Uniontown Area High School. He attended West Virginia University and graduated cum laude in 1980 with a Bachelor of Arts in Biology. He received his doctorate of dental surgery in 1984 from the West Virginia University School of Dentistry. In 1984, Dr. George joined his brother Mallard at George Dental and Associates. Dr. George is a member of the American Dental Association, the Pennsylvania Dental Association, Dental Society of Western Pennsylvania, and is the president of the Fayette County Dental Society. Dr. George plays a large part in the community and has been part of several committees and boards along the way. Dr. George lives here in Uniontown with his lovely wife Paula and their two beautiful daughters, Kendall and Erin. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Dr. Michael George.
Good morning, students, faculty, administration of the Uniontown High School, Hall of Fame committee members, fellow Hall of Fame recipients. It's an honor and privilege to be here before you today. It's hard to believe that it's been 46 years since I sat in those same seats, just wondering where my life would take me as I left the halls of Uniontown High School. When Merck asked me if I wanted to say a few words, I thought it was going to be impossible for a guy like me, if you know me, to say a few words, but I will keep my remarks brief. I'm here to represent our 1975 Uniontown Hall of Fame team, and I'd like to just give you a brief history of myself. I was born here in Uniontown. I've been practicing dentistry here for 38 years. I grew up in an ethnic Lebanese Italian family on the west end of town known as Pea Ridge. From a very early age, I was taught that good work ethic would pay off someday. And my parents gave me the greatest gift anyone could ever give another person. They believed in me. In 1976, things were a little different. The population and enrollment were much greater. I just told Reggie we graduated 465 in our class. I believe it was the largest class ever to graduate Uniontown High School. The socioeconomics in our region was much different also. There were many activities for us throughout neighborhood playgrounds, Bailey Park, the YMCA. Kids were everywhere, and we got to know each other through these activities. They were a big part of growing up in Uniontown, and competing with other playgrounds or elementary schools started at a very early age. Scholastically, we had neighborhood grade schools throughout Uniontown. I attended a small school, Boyle School, on the west end of town from K through 6. And I was extremely fortunate to receive a fantastic education in the Uniontown school system. Our teachers not only knew us, they knew our families. And that was definitely an asset to our education. I attended Benjamin Franklin Junior High, 7 through 9, and this is where organized sports really began. I was blessed to have so many fine faculty and coaches along the way. I was privileged to have coaches like Bill Baroda at BF and Jim Render here at Uniontown High School. Coach Render will be representing us, our team, at the Hall of Fame induction ceremonies tomorrow. He remains the winningest coach in the WPAL football history with 406 wins, a record I doubt will ever be touched in this region. He's 4th all-time in the state of Pennsylvania and 25th in the nation. He's a true Hall of Famer in his own right. Our team was 9-1 my senior year. We outscored our opponents 239 to 42. We had 6 shutouts, and back then we were in the tough, rugged Western Conference. We played all the Pittsburgh schools like Upper St. Clair and Mount Lebanon, Baldwin, Bethel Park, etc. We had 3 all-state players, Billy and Reggie Mclean and Davis Hall, and 2 Big 33 All-Stars, Pennsylvania All-Stars. There was so much pride in being a Red Raider, and you can just look at the sign out front, the school champion sign, and see how much pride there's been over the years at this high school. I'd like to take 1 minute to talk about relationships. As we grow older, it becomes more evident that vital relationships are so important in our lives. You're building those important relationships right now. I'm here representing the 1975 Hall of Fame Raider football team. We have men and coaches, players, and families that have come here in the last couple of days throughout the country to celebrate this event. The relationships that I made with these men over my life are so significant. Many have occurred since my elementary days and middle school years, and they're just as strong today as they were then. Throughout the years, we've laughed together with our joy. We shared our accomplishments. We wept in our sorrows, and we were proud to stand by one another and go to war with our fellows on that football field every Friday night. I ask you, just don't take these relationships for granted. Nourish them, cherish them, and know that they're there for the rest of your life. Scholastically, there were many success stories. I was privileged to have many role models and mentors that I looked up to. I knew I wanted to be a dentist from a very early age, 6th or 7th grade. I looked up to my childhood dentist. I had a goal, and people were there to help me achieve those goals throughout my life. How do you go from where you are today to where you want to be? Enthusiasm for life. You have to have a dream and a goal, and you have to be willing to work for that. So many teachers and coaches taught us those things: good work ethic, teamwork, motivation, perseverance, to never give up or quit. Skills that I use today in my own life and in my dental practice with my team there. The pride that we had in wearing a Red Raider jersey and represent our school was second to none. I aspired to emulate the fine students and athletes that came before me. The goals I was talking about were very important to me. Goals scholastically and athletically. Honor roll, student government, National Honor Society, putting those W's on the board every Friday night. They all played an important role in forming the man I am today. I graduated from WVU cum laude in biology, and I went on to dental school there at WVU. And in 1984, I joined my brother Mallard in the dental practice known as George Dental Associates. We've been in the community for 44 years. My other brother Tom, who's here today, representing the 81 Uniontown High School band, was also a big part and a role model for me growing up. I met my wife Paula here in Uniontown, and we have two beautiful daughters, Kendall and Erin. Kendall graduated from Duquesne, and unfortunately the other high school on the other side of town, University of Villanova Law School, and she's currently the Assistant Director of Academics in the Athletic Department at the University of Maryland. Erin is a sophomore at Duquesne, and she's studying supply chain management in the school business. So practicing dentistry for over 38 years in my hometown is like a dream come true for me. It's afforded me many opportunities to give back to the community that gave so much to me. And that's why I'm here speaking today at my alma mater. Not only just to share these achievements, but to hopefully give you some hope and inspire all of you that dreams and goals are possible. So in closing, I'm going to challenge all of you to work hard to achieve these dreams and goals so that 46 years from now, you can come back to help inspire students and following generations, just as my mentors did for me 46 years ago. Thank you very much. God bless.
Our next inductee, Mr. Thomas Droski. He's part of the 1975 Red Raider football team. Graduated from Uniontown in 1976 and played on the football team from 73 to 75. He has a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminology from Indiana University of Pennsylvania in 1980. He's a member of the IUP football team from 76 to 77 and also Dean's List at IUP. His career, FBI guy. FBI from 1987 to 2013. Assigned to the FBI Houston, Texas office from 87 to 2003. 12-year member of the team leader of the Houston FBI SWAT team, working with criminal investigators. Assigned to FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, as a tactical instructor. You don't mess with this man. Assigned to the FBI Honolulu office. That's a great way to retire from 2011 to 2013. He lives with his wife, Karen, in Bradenton, Florida. Again, he wants to congratulate the 1975 coaches and players. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Tom Droski, class of 1975.
Good morning, folks. Thanks. You've been good morning to death this morning, but I'm told that the saving grace for any remarks I make is that you are missing a couple of classes this morning by your attendance at these brief presentations. A couple of things I want to just maybe highlight that worked for me in my life and in my career. And one of those that lives with me to this day is the mentoring, the teaching, and the coaching that I received at a young developmental age, starting in junior high school through high school, but mainly here at Uniontown area. We were blessed, as Dr. George pointed out, to have tremendous faculty. And one of the things that impresses me the most about our 1975 football team, besides the work ethic that we had as athletes, you didn't want to let your teammates down. That was one of the worst things you could do. You got to stand and look in the mirror at yourself and say, did I give it my best today? Did I do what was expected of me? And did I do what I should have done in wearing the maroon and white and being a Uniontown Red Raider? That expectation as an athlete is something that I think our team embraced. We worked hard in the off season, and we knew going into Friday night we were not going to be out-coached or outplayed because we were prepared, and we had the finest coaches that you could possibly have the opportunity to play for. Dr. George mentioned a couple of those coaches, and I want to thank, in front of this audience, our first and foremost, our head coach, Jim Render, who was an extremely accomplished football tactician in Western Pennsylvania. His record speaks for itself. But one of the things, as I was younger, and I recall was talking to Coach Jeffries before we started the event this morning, I recall going home and talking to one of my older brothers, and they asked me, hey, how's it going? And I said, man, it was a rough day today, practice. Coach was riding herd on me. He was just giving me a hard time. And one of my older brothers said to me, he said, you should be thankful that somebody sees potential in you. Potential enough to put their time, effort, and energy into correcting you and wanting to make you the best athlete and beyond athlete person that you could be. So our 1975 football team, if you look at what we accomplished then, it's certainly impressive. But you look at where these players are today, and my teammates, and what we've done in life. And I think that speaks volumes of the preparation that we had here as students at Uniontown High School, and also the coaching and mentoring from our teachers and the athletics faculty that was in place. And we had the blessing of having a large class in terms of numbers. And I just feel as though the emphasis that those teachers and coaches placed upon us in terms of discipline, hard work, and focus not only served us well on a gridiron in our years as Uniontown Red Raiders, but also were lessons that we carried with us through our lives in later years and kind of shaped the adults that we've become and the accomplishments that we were able to obtain off the field. Also, it's impressive, and I'm honored to be among the folks here that are also inductees, and I want to personally thank Merck and Danny for helping to put this together, Jess Hudson, Dr. Brain, I think Dr. Machesky as well, and certainly Dr. Mike George for shepherding this process and getting our 1975 team and coaching staff the recognition that we so rightfully earned. And one thing, I guess, in closing, that I want to emphasize to you folks that are wearing the maroon jerseys, the numbered jerseys today, you have a game tonight. And one of the things that is inherent in this high school and the football program is it certainly means something to be a Uniontown Red Raider. You spit blood with your teammates, you work, you prepare, and you hope that the fruits of those efforts will pay dividends, not only on Friday night or Saturday night when your football games are, but in life. And I can assure you those lessons that I learned while I was seated in the seats that you're in right now have served me well in life. And I appreciate and thank the teachers, coaches, and mentors that I had and my teammates, Mike, Reggie, Mac. I love you guys, and I'm honored to be here with you. God bless you, and thank you so much.
Hey, Coach Jeffries, after that speech, man, I'm going to go. Put me some pads on. Let's go. I like that. Blood and guts, gridiron. Good words. Remember that, gentlemen, tonight where you're beating Brownsville up. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Mr. Droski. Let's go! Okay. Our next speaker, Mr. Richard Kalish. He was born in the, let me just digress here. These guys all like to say who's the oldest and everything else. When it gets to, these Hall of Famers in the 60s and, sometimes the 50s, I'm older than you, and it's always a competition every year. So Mr. Ball, I think he wins the oldest guy, but this guy he realizes what he's come from, and some of you probably have no idea what he's going to talk about. Harry Truman was the president of the United States at the time. When he sat in this auditorium, John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and Martin Luther King gave the speech, I Have a Dream speech. He used a rotary phone. Does anybody know what a rotary phone is by a show of hands? Oh, okay. That's good you watch Stranger Things. I understand. That's the same year that zip codes were introduced. The median household income was $6,200, and unlike Dairy Queen workers at $15 an hour, it was $1.25 as a minimum wage. He is the president of the Uniontown class of 1963, which has 21 classmates already in it. He graduated from Penn State, where he was the president of the undergraduate student government, was an intern at the Department of State in Washington, D.C., holds 2 U.S. patents, was president and CEO of 4 companies, and recently qualified for the National Senior Olympics in pickleball. I love it. We teach pickleball in class. So again, I don't make this stuff up. Pickleball is a real sport. Please welcome bona fide baby boomer, Mr. Rich Kalish.
I'm an old man. Baby boomer. We baby boomers, we like to give advice to you Gen Z people. Get off your phone. Get off that PC playing those video games. Get a haircut. Get a job. Yeah. And you Gen Z people, you pity us. No PC. No word processor. No Wi-Fi. No Snapchat, no YouTube. But guess what? Don't pity us, because we think we invented it all. And we at least can both read and write cursive. What do you think? I need 2 assistants. Okay, please, come on down. Successful people don't hesitate. Let's give these folks a little walking music here. What's your name? Dominic. Okay, I need another assistant. Come on. Yes, come on. And what is your name? Felix. Phoenix. Okay. Dominic and Phoenix. Do you know what this is? Tape measure. You know how to use it? Okay. I want Dominic, if you would, pull that out, and when he gets to 76, stop it. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, 76, back here. 76. I thought you said you knew how to use this. Okay. In case you've been reading the newspapers, as of yesterday, 76 is the forecasted age that folks in this room can expect to live. 76. That's disturbing for some of us, right, JC? We're already over that number. Okay, now, so this tape is at 76. That's your life expectancy. And Dominic, how old are you right now? 16. Okay, 16. Put your finger right there. 16, and we've got 76. So there's a lot of runway there. Everybody agree? A lot of runway. Now, okay, we can let this go, and let's go up. Digital. Digits. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Let's give these folks a little appreciation. So, we're at 16 or 17, and we've got maybe 60 years out in front of us. So when I sat in these seats, one of the things I thought of is, when do you become an adult? When I was here, you know, you could sneak off to West Virginia at age 18 and drink a 3.2 beer. Some people consider that was when you became an adult. Look at some of these guys smiling, they've been there. Okay, some people think it's at age 21. And I'm going to give you a couple of ideas, not advice, just a couple of ideas for you to think about. And one of those ideas is, when do you become an adult? And I suggest to you that you become an adult when you decide what you're going to do and what you're going to be. Now, some of you in this room are fortunate to have supportive families. Some of you are not. Some of you are fortunate to have a certain income level. Some of you don't. Some of you may in fact be a victim of child abuse. Some of you are favored by your teachers. Some of you aren't. Some of you have parents that may even have substance abuse issues. Some of you don't. Now, we can't always determine what kind of a hand we're dealt in life, but we can observe it and we can learn from it. And you can decide that I want to do this and I don't want to do that. I want to be this and I don't want to be that. Your past does not dictate your future. So, from my standpoint, when I started to make decisions about, this is what I want to be, this is what I don't want to be, this is what I want to do, this is what I don't want to do. That's when I think we become an adult. Another idea for you. Soon after that, I wrote down on this 3x5 card, which I've carried with me for some 60 years, my personal mission statement. And I wrote on that 3x5 card what it was I wanted to stand for and how I wanted to chart my life. It's an idea. Maybe some of you will do it, maybe some of you won't. But I can assure you that you will become what your thoughts make you, and that everyone in this room can achieve whatever you want to. And life will give you whatever you deserve. Any questions? Okay, I'm going to ask everybody to do something. I want you to do something that's going to make you uncomfortable. What I mean by that is, as an example, I wear a watch. I wear that watch on my left hand. Okay? If I put that watch on my right wrist, it's uncomfortable for me. In fact, I can't wait to get it back on my left wrist. I carry my identification in my right pocket. If I put it in my left pocket, it bothers me. I carry change in my right pocket. If I put change in my left pocket, it bothers me. So what I'm going to ask you to do is to consider, when you want to do something, put that wristwatch, per se, on the opposite arm, put the change in the opposite pocket, and keep it there until you do it. Okay? Another little idea. Let me ask you a question. How many of you, by show of hands, have one of these? Wow, looks like we've found some common ground. How many have ever gotten a lecture, stay off your phone? Oh, some more common ground. Well, you're going to hear a different message from me. I say stay on your phone. But don't think of it as a phone. This is a gateway to human knowledge. A gateway to human knowledge. You hold it in your hand. This device can give you answers to most everything. Just ask it. Now, all of us in life have 1,440 minutes a day. No more, no less, except 2 days in our life. The day we're born, the day we die. Otherwise, 1,440 minutes a day. Most of us sleep 8 hours. So that's how many minutes? Where's your math skills? 480 minutes, right? 480 minutes. Okay, so that takes us down to 960 minutes. Usually we have 3 meals a day, maybe 3 hours for that. So that's another 180 minutes. So that takes us down, we're now around 780 minutes. Guess how many minutes on average we spend on this device per day? 7.5 hours. 7.5 hours a day. So we better make good use of this. Now, how many of you use this for social media, one kind or another? Okay, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter. Okay. How many of you have gotten a lecture about that? Oh. Let me give you a couple statistics. Gen Xers represent 20% of the population. 72% of the population use these for social media. So what's that mean? That means 52% of the people giving you lectures are also using the same thing for social media, right? Hey, you should get off your phone, right? And they're on their phone. Now, I'm going to suggest this to you. If you want to pick up some extra time, your world is social media. I buy that. I accept that. You're not going to abandon that in most cases. That's the world you live in. But what I would suggest to you is take off push notifications. And you'll free up about 3 hours a day. And think of it. It puts you in control of when you answer your social media. In those 3 hours a day, use this phone as a gateway to human knowledge. You have a question, ask it. Siri, ask it. And guess what? Most of the time, she'll come up with the answer, or he'll come up with the answer. So, anybody know the definition of the word apotheosis? Oh. Ask your phone. Thank you very much.
I don't have any words to say about that. That was awesome. Thank you so much. I'm just impressed you went from a rotary phone to you know, Snapchat and TikTok and everything else is. So congratulations, Mr. Kalish. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Reggie Mclean. Reginald K. Mclean received his BS and master's degree in industrial safety management from West Virginia University. He is the corporate sponsor and director of health and safety for Wayne Sanderson Poultry Company in Atlanta, Georgia. Wayne Sanderson is the third largest poultry company in the United States, employing 25,000 employees company-wide. His previous experience includes serving as the director of safety and health for Pilgrim's Pride of Texas, where he was responsible for managing and directing all areas of compliance for occupational health and safety, fleet safety, and workers' compensation. Mr. Mclean has also served as corporate safety manager for Purdue Farms in Salisbury, Maryland for nearly a decade. He began his career as a safety professional with the City of Milwaukee Safety Commission before advancing to the largest health complex in Wisconsin as a Director of Safety and Security with Milwaukee County. Mr. Mclean is a proud Red Raider, having served as class president prior to graduating with this class of 1976. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Reggie Mclean.
Good morning. Good morning. And I am a proud Red Raider, still wearing school colors. Hey, I want to tell you about a time when the energy to be a Red Raider was so thick that kids lined up like myself on the fence and watched and waited for an opportunity just to get on a Red Raider team, whether it was basketball or football or track, it didn't matter. He talked about the size of my company, 25,000 people. When I went to school here in Uniontown, the town was 22,000. It's now about 10,000, so there's a lot less people. But I want to encourage you to remember the energy that was there now, because there's personal pride in it. And the things that I'm going to talk about are things that I hope that you might remember, something that may resonate with you that you can take with you. Because I can remember sitting in your chair and I'm talking to these older folks and they're always giving us advice and what advice is good and all of it's too much. And every once in a while you hear something that's a pearl that when you get older, you think back that was good advice and it shaped me. So I will tell you this, although there's a lot of noise and a lot of energy, your parents, your grandparents, your teachers, other mentors are talking to you about, pay attention, because what they have that you don't have is the wisdom of how the page unfolds. You're sitting there now looking at a future. I remember sitting there, I remember being on the same stage, and my ambition led me to run for class president. And I won class president, and I was the first African American to ever be the class president for Uniontown High School. So I hope there's been more since then. So 46 years later, I'm back on this same stage, and what the difference is, when I sat in your chair, I was wondering, what school would I go to? What job would I have? What profession would I have? Would I be rich? Would I be poor? And I was pretty ambitious and pretty motivated to be successful, but you have no idea what the opportunities are until you venture out. So I'm going to just give you a few things that I want you to hold on to from this old person talking to you. Be diligent about pursuing your best life. And what that means is whatever attributes you have, those are the attributes you have to put before you, and you have to use them. Some of you are very shy, some of you are communicators, some of you are people person, and you have dynamics that you have the empathy for caring for other folks. Whatever that is, you use that often in front of yourself and know that things will be better when you're pursuing higher ground. If you're not pursuing anything, you're stagnant and you're dead in the water. What I'll say about you also, that many of you are sitting here and you don't really know what your life is going to be. You know what you might want, and some of you don't have an idea what profession that you'll end up landing into. Because, and why you don't is, often life provides us opportunities that were unexpected, and those are the opportunities, if we're wise, we take advantage of, and you move forward with those opportunities. For example, I left here with a natural skill set to carry a football, and I was pretty good at it. Carried a football, I scored touchdowns. I was proud of that. My community was proud of me. I would come to my father, who was a former athlete himself, and he was pretty good. And I remember a night I broke the school record. I scored four touchdowns against Keystone Oaks, and he looked at me and said, "Bring the grades home." I want the grades. I want the grades. And I'm like, "But Dad," you know. And and then I left here, and I had about, I'm not telling you this to brag on me, I'm telling you this because this is how the page unfolds, and this is how it unfolds for me. I had 16 scholarships. I stood on this stage and Johnny Major recruited me, and him and Jackie Sherrill told me, come to Pitt. I'm recruiting you just like I'm recruiting Tony Dorsett. Or you can go to West Virginia and we'll whip your butt. Well, it looks like they're still doing that. Went to the game last night. He was right, but it rubbed me the wrong way. They had a great running back. It was Tony Dorsett. I'm a running back. Didn't make sense for me to go there, so I went south. Ended up being the best thing for me because my original point was you don't know how your page is going to unfold. So you have to be busy pursuing your best life. And what happened to me was I was hoping, leaving here all my life, hoping to be an NFL running back. But my father stayed in my ear, giving me directions about keeping good grades. And my mother was the implementer of that. You know, when street lights came on, I had to be home and study. And I had other friends and cousins, they were still out, and maybe they did their homework, maybe they didn't. But it wasn't an option for me. So older people in your ear giving direction. Later on, that became very important because every year you build upon what your past knowledge is. Your elementary school experience is broadened by your junior high experience. Had a good time in both those schools, and then I got to Uniontown, and that was even better. Well, Uniontown was great, but then I went on to college, and I thought that was even better at West Virginia University. But about my junior year, I realized I wasn't going to the NFL, wasn't working out that way, and the plan B that my father gave me became more prevalent. I'd always kept good grades. I had an academic counselor who talked with me about this new profession in safety that came about. Didn't even know anything about it. I was like you. I was going into the world, had one plan. It ended up being the plan B that carried me through. I graduated on time, and I stayed 2 more years and got a master's degree, and then went out into a new field, which was occupational safety. Now every company has an occupational safety professional because the government has regulations for keeping the employees healthy and safe. So it ended up being the forefront of something that was great, and it worked out very well for me. I've had a great profession, I've had a great career, and I met the financial needs that I thought that I would get through the NFL. I got them from that plan my father had when he was whispering in my ear. I was only seeing carrying the ball and scoring the touchdowns. The other things was a side game, but it ended up being the best thing for me because I listened. So listen to some of those things that older folks are telling you. And I know you're feeling pretty good about your out of class that's said here right now, but I'm hoping that you pick a couple things up. The other thing I would say is, in your life, you're gonna run into some adversity. And that happened to me too. I was kind of like the all-American male, and everything had always gone good. And then sometimes you color outside the line, you find yourself in a little trouble, whether it's legal, economical, or maybe your marriage is breaking down, or something in your family doesn't go right. My point that you have to take and remember to me is, don't let your worst days define you. Keep working on your best attributes, and your story will be broader than the negative thing that you're facing on that day. Don't lay down and let that be your defining moment. Keep working at the good things that you know, the things that you can do, and you know, your life story is not going to be 1 year, it's going to be 80 years. So remember that, because you're all going to face some adversity. And remember to overcome that and be the best that you can. So, Red Raider Nation, love you, stay focused.
Now, Mr. Brown has a pair of maroon pants on today. Mr. McLean, just be careful. One of our teachers may steal your maroon jacket there. So to match his maroon pants. So let's go UT. I still love the Raider pride that everybody has. Thank you very much, Mr. McLean. Congratulations in class induction, Hall of Fame induction, I should say. Our next person, Mr. Frankie G. Garbett. Now he has a little lengthy bio, but bear with me because it's interesting. You may recognize some of the things. Frankie G. is the son of the late Alfred and Minnie Fermani, Garbett. In 1973, graduate of Uniontown High School. Frankie lettered in football and wrestling at UHS, and also attended Penn State University. I think they won last night, didn't they? Yeah, Penn State won. At the young age of 2, Frankie demonstrated fondness for driving in his car seat and was told that he would probably become a race car driver one day. After high school graduation, Frankie entered the automobile industry. This took him to California, where he worked for BMW as a sales representative. This position afforded him the opportunity to meet and become friends with several influential people. Frankie soon met Hollywood stunt coordinator Bobby Bass, famous for his work on, and I know none of you know this, Smokey and the Bandit, who guided him through the process of becoming a stunt person. Frankie performed a great deal of precision drive work and realized how difficult it was going to be to work as a stunt person and as an actor in Hollywood. Opportunities for stunt work slowly presented themselves to Frankie, and he kept his positive attitude. His persistence paid off and found himself working in acting, making music videos, and appearing in television commercials. Frankie soon coordinated sets for BMW.com, the Notorious B.I.G., and Good Behavior. Do you guys even know who Notorious B.I.G. is? Okay, good. In reference to commercials, he worked on Castro, Syntec, Kellogg's, Farmers Insurance, Budweiser, Pepsi, and many others. Regarding his acting career, Frankie appeared in Sinatra Part 2, Another 48 Hours, LA Confidential, and The House on Haunted Hill, just to name a few. Some of his stunt work in professional films included some of my all-time favorite movies: The U.S. Marshal, The Rock, Con Air, Gone in 60 Seconds, The Italian Job, The Green Hornet, and The Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. During his film career, Frankie worked as double for Michael Ironside, John Polito, Rip Torn, Bruce Willis, Burt Reynolds, and Marlon Brando. Among the other interesting actors he met were Angela Lansbury, Sandra Bullock, Cameron Diaz, Charlize Theron, Clint Eastwood, James Garner, Jean-Claude Van Damme, I like that guy, and the Arnold Schwarzenegger. Frankie's career spanned 30 plus years. During this time, he was a member of the SAG, Taurus, World Stunt Academy, AFTRA, the Masonic Order, the SCCA, and AMA. And he's also a helicopter pilot. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Frankie G.
Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you very much. I want to tell all you students, this time is the best time of your life right now. Don't throw it away. Stay in school and do what you want to do. You have something you want to do, proceed and do and chase your dream. It can't come through if you're persistent about it. Excuse my speech, I had a stroke not long ago, so forgive me. But you know, you can do it. There's a country boy from Uniontown who went to LA and knocked the doors in and proceeded to do what I could. And it was fun. I got to spend a lot of time. I had my basket. I lived it. My dreams. I got to drive exotic cars. The people I used to train. I trained Paul Walker how to drive high speed. I taught Drew Carey how to ride motorcycles. That's just some of the things, you know. And the most fun was like driving for Goodyear. I did a commercial with a Ferrari, 202 miles an hour. So my life has been very exciting and very enjoyable. And you can have your dream come through. Children, please persistently stay to what you want to do. Don't stray. Stay in school and get an education if you can, and enjoy it also. You know, it has to be some fun in there also. That's all. Have a nice day. Bye.
Obviously, he drives a lot faster than his speeches are, so, or maybe his speeches are faster than he drives, who knows. Thank you very much, Frankie G, and congratulations. Our next member of the Hall of Fame is Allison Meadow. Allison is a 1997 graduate of Uniontown High School. She attended West Virginia for her undergraduate degree and Bowling Green State University for her master's, where she studied music, specifically the field of opera. She is currently enrolled at Fordham Law School with a concentration in corporate compliance and securities law. Allison serves as a Deputy Chief Compliance Officer at a $1.2 billion hedge fund firm. She is a regular performer with the Riverside Opera Company, the Richmond County orchestra, as well as multiple venue and organizations throughout the New York and New Jersey area. Allison holds the position of worship director at Gateway Church. Really? Down in Texas? Oh, okay, it doesn't different because we watch that. Anyway, she resides in New York City with her husband and 2 daughters. Let's please welcome from class of 1997, Allison Magic.
Hello, fellow inductees, faculty, and students. I am so honored to be here, and when I was asked if I wanted to speak, I really kind of didn't know what I wanted to talk about, so I'm going to give you some five tips or pieces of advice. Take them or leave them as you see fit. So I think the last time I stood on this stage was back in 1997. I was doing the role of Lily Vanessa in Kiss Me Kate, the musical. And at that time, I was going to be the world's greatest opera singer. So, no fallback plan. I got an undergraduate and a master's to be an opera singer, and I moved to New York City where I was going to be this famous opera singer. But there was one thing that nobody told me. New York City is really expensive. So I had to get a job. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I started temping and working in small roles in finance companies. And you know, it actually wasn't that bad. But by the time I got to the age of 30, I remember one morning specifically, I had an epiphany. I had logged into my PC, and there's this program called Bloomberg that I use, and every morning when you launch it, there's this quote that comes up from a famous person every day. And the quote that morning was, "The definition of hell, on the day of your death, coming face to face with the person you could have become." Y'all, I was struck. And at that moment I thought, okay, I'm doing okay. I live in New York City, I've got a pretty good job, but what about this thing that I worked towards, that I poured my life into for all these years? So at that moment I decided, what if I could pour myself into this and not have to be the famous opera singer, but be someone that poured into the lives of students and to the music community and to the community in general. And it was at that point that I worked to found a 501c3 nonprofit to teach music to young students, mostly disadvantaged in the New York City area. Through that, I was asked to be on the board of multiple musical organizations, including orchestras and opera companies. I was asked to join New York City's only, if you guys know this band, I'm gonna be shocked. You know the band Rush? Anybody know that band, Rush? There you go. I'm the lead singer of a Rush cover band for all of New York City. And now at this point in my life, I have more performing opportunities than I ever did when I was actually actively seeking it. So that's my first piece of advice for you. Live courageously. Live as if you're going to be the person that you know that you're going to become. My second piece of advice for you is, just like we all have our own gifts and talents, and we all have our own DNA that is made specifically for us out of all of eternity and all of time, the gifts and talents that you all have been given should not be ignored. You have a duty to develop them, to cherish them, and to use them. And if you do, you will be happy. There's always going to be some sort of inner dissonance or tug on your spirit if you have these giftings and you're not using them. So you owe it to yourself, and am I allowed to say this, your creator, to use those gifts and talents. My third piece of advice is, you do not have to sacrifice all of your dreams for one. That's the one thing that I thought when I was going to be this famous opera singer, is that no fallback plan, nothing. This is it, I'm gonna do this, very myopic. It's completely untrue. You can do it all. And if you're doing something to impress somebody or a group of people, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Do things because you enjoy them and you will be happy. To echo my fellow inductees, stop comparing yourselves to others. Be yourself, because everyone else is taken. Get off the Instagram, and I can put the in front of social media platforms because I'm over 40. Get off the Instagram, the TikTok, the Snapchat, and maybe if that's unrealistic, when you post things, be authentic. Don't curate a lifestyle, because the damage that these platforms have done in creating a culture of narcissism, it breaks my heart for all the young people my fellow inductees and I, we didn't have to deal with that. So just be authentic in who you are, and you will be happy. And here's my last piece of advice, and this may be a little controversial, but not everyone has to go to college. Not everyone does. No matter what you choose to do, whether it's an entrepreneurial spirit, whether it's the armed services, whether it's trade school, whatever you do, pour yourself into it 100%. Live courageously, work hard, live authentically, and you will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, and again, congratulations. Great advice. Our last speaker this morning is Mr. Jim Mcclure, part of the 1975 football team. Very proud to have earned an Eagle Scout Award in 1973. Played football at Lafayette Middle School and UHS through 1976. He also participated in football and baseball and earned sports letters at W&J. Graduated from Washington Jefferson College in 1980 with a double major in economics and psychology. Worked at SuperValue Unify until January 2022 as a category manager for grocery products in various locations in the national corporate divisions, with his final responsibility located in Minneapolis, Minnesota. His category sales responsibility equaled $152 million in sales for the company. Ladies and gentlemen, let's please welcome Mr. Jim Mcclure.
Hey, thank you all for your kind applause. I'm not sure I'm worthy of it, but Tom, you still awake? You still awake? Okay, good. One of the things you may or may not recognize from me right off the bat is I don't ever take myself too seriously. If I can impress upon you, take that advice. We all mess things up. We all have to figure a way to get out of it. I always look on the humorous side of things to get out of it. I'm going to make this brief because, as they said, I was an Eagle Scout, and as I grew and I had children, I became an adult Boy Scout leader. And one of the things that I've always heard in that organization was, your mind will only absorb what your backside can endure. So I'm going to be brief. When I think about my life and my progression, Boy Scouts was one of the biggest development opportunities for me. And as I played with these young men over here through sports, you learn very much the same things. You learn dedication, you learn responsibility, you learn how to celebrate the wins, how to accept the losses. All of those are going to happen in your life. And just beware, I said before, you're going to fail. What you do about it makes all the difference in the world. So, I've gone through college. How many here know what you're going to do when you go to college? Yeah, that's what I thought too. I originally went to W&J for pre-med. I played football, I pledged to fraternity, and I found out girls were pretty good looking. And that didn't work out too well for studying. So I had to do a lot of soul searching to determine what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. And I ended up having some desire, some motivation to go into business. So I ended up with a double major in economics and psychology. When I graduated, I went to work for a company called UNFI, which was formerly Fox Grocery, who was bought by Waterhouse, who was bought by SuperValue, who was bought by Unify. And again, that brings another lesson into life, that is, be flexible. Whomever you work for, especially in that progression in my career, I was working in the grocery business, my job was never different. It was always the same in whatever organization that I worked with. So be flexible, number one. And I learned that from Mr. William Merriman, who was one of my teachers, and that's the one nugget that I got out of school, and it was a two-word phrase, be flexible. So when I didn't do well in college, I had to sit down, and what came to mind? Be flexible. So I had to sit down, figure it out, and I did work it out, and it worked out okay for me. 35 years with UNFI, different various positions of increasing responsibility. And I'm going to talk a couple of things of life lessons that I've learned through the business world. A lot of them are true to your own personal life too, but the number one lesson that I've learned is think. Whatever you do, think. Now, I'm not talking about analysis paralysis. I'm talking about whatever you're faced with. Take a few minutes and think of how I'm going to get that done. Second thing is be flexible, because what you think about getting done may not happen. So you got to come back to number two, whatever backup plan is number two. And this second is a very hard lesson to learn, because it's an affront to your own self-reliance, self-realization. Because no one cares about what you think. They care about what they think. So if you're put in a position of needing to work with people, even in business, even in life, you're going to be involved with working with people. You need to first sit down and identify what motivates those people, so you can present your circumstances or your team needs in a manner that they will buy in and help you get that accomplished. And quite frankly, the third thing is don't take yourself too seriously. Life's too short to always be nervous, to always be, I should say, grumpy, to always be critical of everyone else. And when things don't go your way, first thing you do is look in the mirror. What did I do to make that not happen? That's about all I got for you guys. Very brief. Questions? Thank you. Have a good day. Oh, the one last thing is, too, a lot of people talk about what they did on the stage in this room. The only thing that comes to mind is when we got in here, very much like you're out of class, we were in here, we're all sitting in here, and I remember just watching Three Stooges movies. That's it. That's all I got.
One last thing we want to take care of before we go back to second period. Mr. Tom George, he has a presentation that he would like to present.
Hello, Red Raiders. A lot of you probably see me throughout the years and saying, that's a guy that takes my photographs. What the heck is he doing up on that stage? Well, back in 1976, I was hired as the music teacher at Lafayette Junior High School. 2 years later, they transferred me to Uniontown High School, where I became the director of bands. I was director of bands for 3 years. And in my last year, 1981, we took the band to Niagara Falls. There were approximately 30 bands that participated in a parade, the Blossom Festival Parade, Niagara Falls, Canada. Out of those 30 bands, Uniontown High School was number one. Number one in the category of 100 or more members. We had the highest overall score. The trophy that we won, sitting on the stage, and my daughter Megan graduated Uniontown 2004. She happened to be in the study hall, and the trophy was in that trophy case. And she came home one evening and said, "Hey, Dad, your trophy is no longer in that case." So the next morning I called the band director, and I don't remember his name, and I proceeded to tell him, "The trophy means nothing to you, but it sure means a lot to me and the students that won that trophy. Would you mind? Could I have the trophy?" So for the last 20 years, I've guarded the trophy in my photographic studio, Georgia Studio. And I've always wanted to give this trophy back to Uniontown High School. That's where it belongs. It is not my trophy. It belongs to Uniontown High School as well as the 1981 Red Raider Marching Band. So, is Mr. Mangus present? Is he somewhere in this house?
I am.
Would you please come up? Incidentally, the band, Uniontown Band, is going into the Hall of Fame tomorrow. I will not be speaking. I have one of my band members, Tony Carter. He will be speaking on our behalf. I think this trophy belongs not in the band room. I think it belongs in the main trophy case in the Uniontown High School main hallway. And I'm going to present it to Mr. Bob Mangus as well as Mr. Wilson to place it where it deserves to be.
Thank you, Mr. George. That is awesome. I know our band would be very proud of that, to have it back here at, as you say, the house. So congratulations. I want to express my congratulations to all the members. This is only a few that we are going to have inducted into the Hall of Fame. Again, tomorrow morning is the official induction ceremony. At 10 o'clock, we'll have an awesome breakfast, so whenever everyone is leaving today, you'll notice that our cafeteria will be transformed into big maroon and white circles, and it will look very nice. We have about 470 people coming tomorrow for the induction. We have a class of 2021 and a class of 2022. Let me just tell you guys, whenever I was the athletic director here, I had a lot of schools call me and say, how do you get started with the Hall of Fame? And it's an impossible job. But as many people have referenced, if you put your mind to it and you just focus on it, you'll do it with help from a lot of people that are around you and they love you. And Mark, that's why we do it, because we care about you and we appreciate your passion. So thank you so much. Congratulations again to all the inductees, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Go UT!